What's up out there, my Mystical Illuminations family? Stara Interstellar here. And today I'm going to talk to you all a bit about Prometheus in honor of this lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, in the middle of this massive portal we are in between the Sagittarius lunar eclipse and the solar Gemini eclipse. And I'd just like to state as well, I just went ahead and said the prayers and intentions before this video so I could just jump right into things. For those of you that are used to me doing that, I just really wanted to get into things today. So we are in the middle of this really powerful eclipse. Now, what does Prometheus have to do with this? And for those of you that don't know, Prometheus is one of the ancient Greek Titans. And the Titans, essentially in ancient Greece, although there's been much, let's say, distortion, misunderstanding about these stories and these mythologies and what they mean, but all of these mythologies from all the cultures are maps of our body. And they are related to, of course, astrology, but they go beyond astrology too, because these are all processes. All of these stories, what they are is mapping out and giving secret hidden wisdom. They're taking these wisdom of these processes that we go through in our evolution, and they show us how to work with these forces and transcend these forces. Of course, a lot of these mythologies have been distorted, misinterpreted, especially as we go through different ages. The stories get reinterpreted and reborn and rebirthed by the evolution as we go through these ages as well. So that's something that's very important. So I'm going to really get deep today into what these processes have to do with your evolution, what they have to do with what's going on in the collective field and in the greater cosmic collective mind and process as well. So Prometheus is a Titan. Well, what is a Titan? Well, the Titans are essentially, if you look at the zodiac wheel, of course, there's all the different signs, okay? Those signs really, what they are showing is the angles of the unmanifest, right? The void, the undifferentiated liquid plasma and matter of the womb, essentially, that we're inside of, or the body casing that we are inside of, that egg that we're inside of, growing our aura for that next phase of evolution that we all had this beautiful opportunity to be a part of. So the signs are really that liquid, okay, that magnetic ferrofluid, that fluid that is being spun by the electromagnetic field. Because you look at the auric field, this egg, and there's this toroidal field spinning and spiraling up from below the root up through the top, and it continually spirals in this electromagnetic aura. So then the planets, aka the gods, what they really are is essentially the nets, these filters that essentially take these portions of the electromagnetic field and they spin it. They assist in moving the spinning and the spiraling. As you see, if you look down at that zodiac wheels, right? There's always moving, then they're moving backwards, and essentially or they seem to be moving backwards. They're creating these counter-rotating spirals, these electromagnetic spirals in our system that also weaves into the astrology system. And this is literally how we ourselves within this giant cosmic body, this giant cosmic child, the Christic Sophia child that is in this womb that we are all a part of, okay? So in this ancient story, essentially the Titan known as Prometheus, which is related to Sagittarius, that aspect of the wheel where this lunar eclipse we just had, and we're in the middle of this portal. So Prometheus essentially wants to give humanity the wisdom of the gods, or the fire of the gods, so that they may be able to be like the gods, or transcend the gods, right? Well, in this story, Zeus, okay, who of course is Jupiter, who is of course Odin, he's also Osiris, right? These are all interconnected and interrelated here. These are all stories of this process that we can go through, this mystical evolutionary process. So Zeus chains Prometheus to a rock, okay? And chains him to this rock. He chains him also to an eagle, which is an emblem of Zeus's consciousness, his symbol, but also is ally or a tool for Zeus as he exercises his power and ability as a god. And so what this is really talking about, okay, of course, first of all, this fire that we're talking about, Sagittarius is a fire sign. This is the fire of illumination, the fire of creative abilities. This is the fire of wisdom, transcendent wisdom, all those things that Sagittarius represents. And Zeus, of course, Jupiter, is the planetary ruler or the god ruler of Sagittarius, which is Prometheus, this Titan, right? And what is this chain? What is this chain and eagle that has going on here? Well, in this story, Zeus chains Prometheus to this rock with this eagle. And in the story, essentially now that he's chained to this rock, after he tries to give humanity this fire, this eagle comes and is continually eating his liver, right? He eats it until it's gone. And then Prometheus, because he can't die, is reborn. And then his liver is regenerated, and it happens over and over and over again. And of course, this is an intense kind of gruesome story, but very important nonetheless, because this rock is essentially a couple different things, okay? First and foremost, the rock is the trauma, programming, and conditioning that happens when we are born. We're born in this more, like, let's say, open, very connected, very tapped in sort of place, right? We don't have as many of these wounds or traumas or programs and things like that. We're just kind of like this child, we're interconnected and we're feeling everything, right? And at some point or another, we have our Jupiter return. We have our these different planetary returns. We also have things that go on in society and things that essentially start this process of individuation, of us disconnecting from the higher cosmic mind, the higher collective mind, higher awareness and connectivity. I'm not saying everybody, but to a certain extent, most people have these things that come in and start to disconnect them and bring them into this cocoon, this egg of disconnecting, so that they can individuate in this unique process and consciousness in their life. And what this comes along with is these densities, these rocks, right? In our past, there's these situations that come in where people harm us, different things come in and they shut us down, right? They take our light, our fire of the gods, our fire of illumination and connectivity, and they trap it, right? In these past situations, literally in our multidimensional energy body, those things where we disconnect and we give portions of our power away to these different external things, whatever they are, then those aspects of our light, of our consciousness, of our power, our awareness are trapped back in those places within our subconscious, within our multidimensional field, within our template. And these things, because we give these portions of our energy, of our light away, they trap them there. But as our electromagnetic energy tries to flow through our system, as we move forward, it gets stuck. It literally gets chained to these parts where it can't flow. It can't move freely through the system. And then the light of awareness of the gods and even higher and beyond these state of the gods, because remember, we're not just a solar system. We are a universe. We are beyond this system. And there's actually many of us here came in to shift and change the multidimensional template structure of these systems altogether. And of course, these are also belief systems, right? That's the thing about Sagittarius. That's the thing about Jupiter, is Jupiter also in this way chains us to these different belief systems, these different belief structures. It takes our light and our ability to transcend these gods and these limitations of these forces, and it traps us in these different belief systems, into judgment of good and bad and right and wrong. I'm better, you're worse. And this is a really important part of this eclipse axis, is when our light gets trapped into these rocks, into these separate, essentially separate consciousnesses within ourself, right? And these separate identity structures. What this is doing is this is separating out all of these little smaller identities, right? And trapping the light and consciousness and awareness there. And then this forms a identity structure and a belief system, a set of identities forming this overarching belief structure, but one that is separate, completely separate, oftentimes from other people. It's full of these programs and these ideas of like, this is the way it is because this painful thing happened to me in the past. So now I'm going to continue to move and act in this way, right? And in the story, the only way that Prometheus ends up getting released is because Heracles comes to release him and uncut the chains. Well, what is Heracles? Heracles is Horus. Heracles is Christ. Heracles is Thor. Heracles is the aspect of our, essentially that Christic force that comes and awakens and works to move through by again, bringing this, essentially Horus. Let's talk about Horus for a minute. Horus always has a spear, right? He's always seen with a spear. And really what this spear is Horus is the son of Ra, right? Son of Osiris, was also the son of Ra. And this spear, what it is this force that actually breaks down through the light of awareness these aspects of trauma programming and conditioning. There's a way to transmute these rocks, to essentially bring light down into the underworld and break apart these things and allow that light of awareness to again be flowing freely, allow that electromagnetic spiraling force of ascension to become free again. And this moves that energy from that separate aspect, from that disconnected trauma-based place into this collective mind. And this is also a lot about the process that we are in right now. This portal is a very unique portal that we are in right now between this lunar eclipse and this solar eclipse coming up in Gemini. If you look at these ancient pictures of Prometheus chained to this rock, also next to Prometheus, you'll always see Mercury. You'll see little Mercury there with his little staff, right? And what this is showing, of course, is that co-rulership or the rulership of Gemini in that axis, right? So Gemini is coming up. Gemini is prevalent right now. Of course, the sun's there. Mercury's about to go retrograde. Mercury, which is Hermes. And you see Mercury is standing there with that awareness of Prometheus chained to this rock. And this is important because in this process, what happens when Prometheus, when our fire is chained to that rock, Mercury essentially remains there. Our mind, our mental structure remains disconnected from our true power, right? Essentially, that all that energy, that power is chained to that rock, that trauma programming and conditioning. But Mercury, our mind, continues to function. And it functions in this way, as I've talked about in some of my last videos about the dragon cosmology and things like that. We stay stuck in this polarity, right? Mercury, Gemini is the polarity of the twins, the back and forth, the good and bad, the right and wrong. And so when it's not connected, we stay trapped in this lower mind, this mental functioning. And that's why also Prometheus is said to try and give the fire to the gods to be able to create all of these things to bring humankind into a better place, right? But when we come from this lower consciousness, this trauma consciousness, this ego consciousness, where we get locked into the mind, the things that we try and manifest and create end up just backfiring, right? Because they're not in alignment with collective consciousness. They're not connected to their brothers and sisters, to their community, to the higher cosmic mind. So essentially, instead of coming to a place of going to that inner Father, Mother, God source within, tapping into the collective and feeling into what wants to be created, what is in alignment for the whole cosmic body of Christos Sophia, right? That Heracles must come and unchain Prometheus from that rock. And this is that Christic force, and that Christic force comes back in. We enter back into this collective cosmic body, literally the Church of Christ, the body of Christ, whatever, Sophia Christ consciousness, 5D and higher awareness. But in order to enter into that consciousness, the light of awareness, that light of Horus, that Christic light and that Christic force has to go down into the underworld to transcend those things. Which reminds me, if you guys would go ahead and look below, if this is helping you, if you guys really dig this information, want more videos, please smash up that like button, share with your friends. Also, you can follow me on social media below. I really love sharing with you guys, and I can't wait to share more. So to jump back into it, I just wanted to, and trying to get in the habit of doing that more in the mid-flow of these videos, so we get that algorithm up, because we're really trying to spread mystical illuminations to as far and as many people as possible, and really ignite that Promethean fire of consciousness within humanity. So in order for us to expand into this collective awareness, we have to go down into the inner underworld and move that. And this is also connected to the liver. Prometheus Sagittarius, very much so connected to anger, right? So specifically in this process that we are in right now, we need to be looking at where we are getting angry. Anger is connected to the liver. Sagittarius is connected to the liver. Jupiter is connected to the liver. And this is the chemical factory in the body that produces so many of our different hormones, of our neurotransmitters and things like this. That's why, once again, is connected to that higher, to those different brain functions, to Mercury, to Gemini. Because essentially when that anger, that fire gets trapped into the liver, then we get addicted to these different chemicals, neurochemistry in the brain, dopamine, norepinephrine, fight or flight things. We stay in this polarized consciousness, that Hermes staff of positive and negative back and forth, rather than tapping into that central channel, that God source within, and that true cosmic consciousness. Now, this eclipse portal we are in is very special, because what we are being asked right now is to really go in to move that inner fire, to move that inner anger, and to call out those things in ourselves and others that are not serving the collective, right? We're basically being put in these different positions of where it's like either move the energy, call it out, not enabling these different things that may be in ourselves or in others, and bringing the light of awareness of consciousness into those darker aspects, those darker forces, so true collective consciousness, true God consciousness can come in for this Gemini solar eclipse coming up. And this is what this window that we're in the middle of is about. And it requires a lot of surrender. With Jupiter in Pisces right now, it requires a lot of faith, the true faith of this higher mind, this deeper mind within us that doesn't have the answers mentally. I talked about this in my last video too. We're being asked to get into this, these deep recesses of the body, into this water consciousness. If there's too much fire pent up into the body, if there's too much anger, then there's just this burning up of this energy in the body, or the burning up of the water in the body. And the water is what's so important to connect us to this intuitive state, into this feeling state, and this intuitional state, to really be able to sense and feel into our true power, which is fully in alignment with the transcendence of all the gods, right? Transcending and including all of these godlike forces inside of our body, and going out to something even greater, where we retain our own sovereignty and our own awareness through surrendering our lower mind, our ego consciousnesses, to the higher mind, the Christic force, to that inner Father, Mother, God source. We surrender that lower mind, and simultaneously, when we surrender and have faith, then all of those forces, all of those higher dimensional forces can work through us, because we're not closing off down into this simple, one-pointed, positive awareness of what we think it should be like, right? Because this whole thing isn't about what we think it should be as individuals. It's about what really wants to come online through connection with Gaia, through connection with the higher cosmic mind, through connection with the collective energy field, and really being able to psychically, intuitively, and body conscious feel into all of those energies, and thus become an instrument of them, and really tapping into those energetics. And that is what this eclipse portal, a lot of it is about. It's about surrendering these energies, doing that work, shifting that energy, clearing out the liquids in the body, clearing out what isn't serving us anymore in our relationships. And then on the other side, in the solar eclipse, then witnessing it in our connections, in our relationships, in the mental spheres, as of course Mercury will end up going direct again, and the kind of fog and haze of all this Neptunian energy will clear. And then we will be able to really bring this light of awareness into that optic thalamus, which is that true Christic, Horus, Heracles, God consciousness, this higher mind. So we have a true understanding of what all of these bigger things are about. So I hope this has been helpful for you. My next video, don't pause it just yet. My next video, one of my next videos, I'm going to be going deeper into the feminine aspect of this, right? I'm gonna talk a little bit about Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, how that relates. Very important stuff going on right now with the shifts in that. And so I'll get deeper into that, how you can tap into that true feminine power within and begin to bring that into manifestation in your life. I've got a new activation and meditation coming out in the next couple days. That will be in the link below. And also, if you want a one-on-one session to assist this powerful eclipse portal, go ahead and find those links down below. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful eclipse day, beautiful eclipse portal, and much love and blessings to you, A Star Interstellar.